Greetings, Black family, and welcome to uh, Wake Up Radio. Hold up. Greetings, Black family, and welcome to On the Wake Up Radio. I'm your host, DC Radical One, and you have entered the center. Shout out to our wonderful producer, Cindy Ashby. You can check us out on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, and iHeartRadio at On the Wake Up Radio. More important than all that, you can check us out at otwtube.com. That's otwtube.com. I am having a slight technical issue. Brother, you got ripped off. If y'all can still hear me, send me a message in the affirmative, please. Because excuse me, my my computer is doing its own thing right now. I'm not sure why. Well, actually, I am sure why. I need to open her up and do some repairs. Okay, the sound is good. Okay, we're gonna continue like this for a few minutes until I can get things set up that I want to get set up. But this weekend was um this weekend was very interesting, and it started on Thursday. The First of all, let me greet everybody who I know is in here. Of course, before they brother, you got ripped off. Straight Black Pride to Daniil Davis. Uh, Greetings to Asafo. Let's see who else we have. BB40, the real black gentleman. Um, BB48 to Eshu Ogun. BB48 to Sister Najee. BB48 Straight Black Pride to Brother Kevin. And greetings to Walter Wilbur. Oh, and of course, greetings to Sister Nina, Straight Black Pride to Brother Crow. And of course, BB40 Straight Black Pride to Spirit, Mind, Character, Soul. And Straight Black Pride to Brother Asar. Good to see you, Brother Asar. And if I did not greet real black gentlemen, BB40 to you too as well. So, all right, I got good news and bad news. The bad news is I plan to put up some clips of the rally Saturday. But my old computer was acting very much like my newer computer is acting now. So, so I didn't get a chance to review all of the clips because it's over 2 hours worth of footage. Now, within that 2 hours, it's probably 10 minutes at most that I could put up. So that's the bad news. The good news is if I do have the footage, have good sound, everybody give some clap emojis to brother you got ripped off because he paid for the microphone. The microphone performed well outdoors. And I will recap that shortly. Right? So that's the bad news and the good news of that. The bad news and the good news of the JP conference was that the conference came under a DDoS attack, a DNS attack, whichever terminology you like to use, and that delayed the conference and made it so you had to go somewhere else to look at it and all that stuff. That was the bad news, thus making it last even more all day than it was already going to last, right? The good news is you can go to Rumble and see Brother Genie's presentation was about an hour long for free. You can go to rumble.com. If you put in Ayoki Monty, or JP Conference, IOK Molly, something like that. You should be able to find it because I saw it on 2 different channels. So that's the good news. If you want the whole JP conference with all the other people, I'm not sure how that works because I'm not sure if they record it separately from streaming because the stream was interfered with. So I will say, then I go back to Thursday like I'm supposed to be doing. I will say that it was interesting for those who haven't like been following Brother Genie, because I know sometimes there's some people that haven't been around, because he's been taken off of most of social media. And of course, what's the day? Tuesday. So tomorrow he will be, he's on Twitter at JAT problem on Twitter, or X as they call it now. It's still Twitter to me. You can find him there. But what he is doing is, or to understand what he is doing, he said this a while ago, but I'm going to reiterate it. Get you a copy of the Irritated Genie book by Jacob Carruthers. Read the book. Focus on Jean-Jacques Dessalines and the strategy, that the Haitian used to get their liberation. That will let you know what Brother Genie is doing, because it's gonna be stuff you see that if you haven't been around, you're like, man, what are you doing? I don't agree with that. I don't like what he's doing. Blah blah blah. Because we've seen it, right? And to understand the why, go to my Instagram page. That's what I'll say. Go to my Instagram page, and which I can't put up right now. So obviously I'm not going to be on but maybe an hour if I can't get full what's the word I'm looking for? Not full access, but if I can't get full if I can't get full access to all the features that I need, then we won't be on long. And maybe I'll come back Thursday, which I had no plan to. And maybe I will have those clips. And this will just be a part 1. But as I was saying, at least I think I was saying, in order to understand what he's doing, you'll have to read that book and understand that strategy. And the reason I say go to my Instagram page, see the last post, that will explain why. Our situation in America and around the world, and America's situation, right? All of that has changed in the last 4 years. Dr. Francis Cress Wilson used to tell us, like, if you went up to Howard University on I believe it was the 3rd Thursday of the month, and you went into the space where she had her lectures, you would see a chessboard, right? And that chessboard was set up as a symbolic way of understanding us versus our enemy, or as she framed it at that time, in essence, Black people versus racism, white supremacy, specifically Black people in America, right? I remember I was talking to Brother Genie. I don't know, this may have been a year ago. I don't even know how long it was. I said, now, 21st century, the game is not chess. The game is risk. Risk is a multi-sided game of gaining and losing territory and strategy and making alliances and breaking alliances and things like that. That's the game today. From not just here in America, but from a global geopolitical perspective, right? And that's how Black people have to think. We have to think beyond just the game of chess. We have to think we're in a whole new game, a whole new level, a whole new board. And if you don't understand that, you're already dead. Like it's really that simple. Because not only are we playing a new game, but the enemy or the opponent, if you will, has mastered that game because they invented the game, and also they get to masquerade as all the other opponents. That's what makes them so dangerous, right? So they can initiate attacks on different people on different places at the same time, and you're looking around trying to figure out who's attacking you. So that is where we are and what we're dealing with, right? Um, oh, Sister Nina, you said you only got to see. Oh, Sister Vanessa, you in here? Okay, greetings to you. You said you only got to see a little bit of life. Yeah, yeah, I got, yeah, I get to that. Let me organize my thoughts. Let me start on Thursday and then work my way up. I just wanted to get that intro out while I'm still waiting for my computer to just get back to normal without me having to cut out the stream. Because I know if I cut out the stream, I'm gonna lose half of y'all. And I'd rather just go for another 43 minutes, be done, come back Thursday, maybe have some of the clips and do it the proper way. And don't even change the thumbnail, just add a part two to it. Because that's my thinking right now. If this thing doesn't, the next 10, 15 minutes doesn't get back to normal. But so that's where we are, like geopolitically in our fight for survival, right? They've changed, plain and simple, they changed the rules of the game, right? We've been playing a certain game for a long time. We haven't been winning, but we've been surviving. And then they changed all the rules, and now everybody has to adapt to the new rules, and everyone's not equipped to see that the game has changed, right? So, like for example, here's a perfect example. A perfect example of how things are different. What did Joe Biden tell us? Was it 4 years ago? Whatever. The same around the same time he was saying, "You don't vote for me, you ain't Black." Same around the same time. He said, "Y'all are going to have to learn to get along with the Hispanics because they're going to outnumber y'all." Whatever he said, I can't really remember what he said. I just remember him saying that, right? Remember he was talking to who? If y'all remember that, let me know if y'all remember that. He was talking to the Black leaders. They recorded it on the Zoom, and he said that. Okay. Now, I don't particularly have anything against Hispanic people, right? But at the same time, if you're telling us that, did you tell them that? You see what I'm saying? Right? Like where was there a sign at the border saying y'all gonna have to get along with Negroes because that's where we're gonna put y'all at? You know what I'm saying? Like, did Joe Biden make that announcement, or did only we get the announcement? Y'all gonna have to get along with them, but they not gonna have to get along with you, right? So it wasn't even a. I just thought that was a weird statement at the time, and then I thought about it. I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, they just gonna open up the borders and ship these people where we are to replace us." That's why he said that, right? Which here we are. That's all I can say. It's places in PG County and DC and particularly PG County and DC, where I never is certain types of Hispanic people I've never seen before, right? Like I've seen some Hispanic people, and yes, we've had them, and they've had their own area in DC since I was a teenager, at least. Okay, cool. They had their own area in Montgomery County, right? Whatever. There's never been a big deal. That's the area. You drive through. you keep on going. You know what I'm saying? That you see them at the mall or whatever, or you hire somebody and they come to your house, you're like, oh, Hispanic dude. I wonder if he know what he doing. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is. Now, totally different ball game. Totally different ball game. Straight Black Pride to the ISP. Good to see you. Now they are in numbers and in places and doing jobs, right? And in spaces that used to be ours. Like, we don't have much left after integration. And the little bit we got, they in the way. Or trying to move us out of the way and take the little bit that we got. Now, is that particularly their fault? No, not necessarily. Right? But it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. So that's what makes it a game of risk, because 30 million people coming over the border doesn't benefit Black people. Plain and simple. There's just no benefit for us for that. Because, I mean, even if you were bringing Black people from like the Caribbean and Africa and all that here, let's be completely honest. Most of the times when they bring Black people here from the continent, they bring the coons, right? They bring the people that love white people, try not to be Black. Now their children that grow up around us and everything, they just blend right in, and you don't even know, right? You kind of look at them like, you kind of look Nigerian, but that's about it. But the first generation, and sometimes the first two generations, oh man, please, especially from the continent, have I met, man, bro? I've met some cool brothers from the continent, and I've met some complete coons from the continent. But let's be realistic. In this day and time, the level of cooning that Black America is doing, I've never even seen before. Because I've never seen Black women act like this. I've never seen Black women like fawning over European males. I don't know what is going on. So this idea that only Black people from other places are cooning is the whole NBA and NFL proved that to be a lie. Because first of all, man, it looked like 35% of the NBA is mixed dudes. And those mixed dudes wasn't made by nobody from the Congo or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was made by a dude from Chicago. Right? So let's just keep it a buck. Like, this weird stuff that's going on with everything bad. I don't know if y'all seen this, like on Twitter, like anytime something bad happens, and I'm starting to see it on Instagram too, and it's somebody Black, suddenly that Black person is never from America, which is a complete lie. Because come on, man. We've been seeing cooning. Because if it wasn't no cooning, Nat Turner would have got us free. If it wasn't no cooning, Fred Hampton would be alive. And Mark Clark. Right? Like, and these people from these other places wasn't really in here like that. So, that myth, we gotta dispel that nonsense. So, all right. So let me get on to this weekend. Because like I said, I ain't gonna be over here but an hour. Because you got ripped off. He gonna call me after it's over, and he gonna ask me, you ain't upgraded your computer yet? And I'm gonna say, nah, bro, because, and he just gonna laugh at me and be like, well, your show ain't gonna work till you upgrade your computer like you supposed to. So that I already know that conversation gonna happen, so we ain't gotta have it. Appreciate you, brother. So Thursday, right? That's the last time I spoke to y'all. I spoke to y'all Thursday. And after I got off, in fact, I think I told her you got ripped off. And I walked into the other room. I turned on the TV, and Biden is on there looking crazy. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, he was on there like they had the camera up on him, man. I wish I had the clip and he was just looking like he was just lunching. And so I don't when I always have my TV all I always have the TV sound down when I turn it on. It's I don't know, it's a weird habit I developed. So when I saw him, I just saw him looking crazy. It wasn't no sound on. So I was like, hey, yo, I'm like, what's happening right now? What's up with your man? And then I saw I saw Trump like looking at him like, yo, like Trump had this look on his face where he was smirking, like, yo, I ain't even gonna clown this fool right now. I'm just gonna let him clown himself. This is an easy victory, right? So I'm just looking at their faces and mannerisms. And I was like, oh man, I got to see what they say tomorrow. Because if the whole thing was like this thing is crazy. So I checked it out, what everybody was saying. And, the Democrats are like, oh my God, what in the world? And then, they was trying to make it about Trump lying. At that point, I was like, I don't know if Trump lied or not, but the other dude was comatose. So what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, one dude lied and one dude couldn't even lie. Like didn't even have the capacity to do that. So that's still one nut and the other guy. That, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, so then I started thinking, right? And I hadn't seen anybody say this, but after I had watched a couple of videos and I was getting stuff ready, making sure my cameras and all that stuff was going to be ready for the next day. This was Friday. I said, hold up. I said, wait a minute. If the president cannot, if y'all, because this was the first rumblings. Now it's kind of louder, where somebody mentioned like, yeah, maybe they'll replace him. Maybe they'll have to replace him for the election. And then I thought about it. I said, oh, wait, hold on. I said, everybody's missing this. Everybody's missing it. Now I've heard people say it, but at the time I didn't hear nobody say it. I said, if you don't think he has the capacity to run in November or from now until November, or you know what I'm saying? Like if you looked at him and that was the first time you really realized, oh, he's way worse than I thought, right? And I'm talking about like the other politicians and the pundit class and all that. I said, if y'all think that, I said the 25th Amendment should be put in effect. Now, I would bring up the 25th Amendment, but I can't. But I'll do a video on that, right? That whole thing. But the 25th Amendment basically was put in place to make mandatory change of power if the president is incapacitated. That dude on stage was incapacitated. I don't know what you mean. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody saw it. Like because to be honest, I expected them to give him whatever drugs they gave him for what was that, State of the Union, where he did a State of the Union. I was like, man, I don't know what kind of drugs they gave him, but okay. I expected them to give him that cocktail of who knows what, you know what I'm saying, or pull the body double or whatever, and it'd be a reasonable debate or whatever. whatever passes for that in America in this day and time. And no, that didn't happen. They just had him up there looking crazy. And so I'm just like, well, if that's what he looks like, let's just say, for example, because I've been hearing people say, oh, well, during the day he's fine. Well, I mean, he don't work in an office where you just go there 8 to 4 and then go home, you know what I'm saying, or 8 to 5 without hour lunch break where you can take a nap. Like, that's not the president's job. The president's job 24/7. Like, anything can happen at any time that the president has to know about. Like, you can't be only good for 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? And the other 16 hours, you're just like, yeah, I'm incapacitated, bro. Call the Secretary of Defense. You know what I'm saying? Leave me a message. I'll get back to you at 8 a.m. Like, that's not how that job works. So I'm thinking to myself, this is, I'm like, y'all don't get it. One, this exposes that somebody else is running the country, which we kind of knew, but this gave it away. Two, regular people who don't know, because we know here that listening to me, we know who's running the country, right? You don't know, go to my Instagram, dc.radical1, look at the last post and look at the book title and everything, and then you'll figure it out. I'm like, so the president is not capable of running the country at a time when, let us review some of the things that are happening. Number one, inflation is just through the roof, and the economy is in the toilet because inflation is through the roof. Right? Let's just be honest. Every time I go to the grocery store, I go with a set budget, and then I look at what my budget is and what I come back with, and I'm just like, I don't have any food. Like, what is going on, right? All right, inflation's through the roof. You just got an international invasion through the southern border. Ain't no other way to put it. Like, it's just crazy. I think they say like 40 million people in the last few years or whatever. Like, literally, the number of illegal immigrants is almost equal to the number of black people in America. And that's just in the last few years. Right? You got a war that you are engineering. Well, not engineering, but you are supplying. My bad. You got two wars that you're supplying. You're giving Israel all of their bombs and stuff to commit genocide against Palestine, where they're blowing off little babies' heads. Okay, that's what's happening. They're getting ready to get in a war with Hezbollah, which is a much bigger threat. And then that could lead to a war, because Hezbollah is in Lebanon, so that means you fight in Lebanon, which could lead to a war with Syria and Iran and Lebanon, all at the same time. While at the same time, you are funding the Ukraine to hit targets in, as we talked previously about, in Russia. And Russia has just unleashed a 6,600 pound bomb that they just started dropping on Ukraine after the US sent their weapons over there. I showed y'all the footage on Thursday of that, right? Not of the new bomb, but of the Crimea attack. And bro, you got ripped off. Said, don't forget about Taiwan, right? And then Putin just met with North Korea, so who knows what may come of that. So that's the foreign policy part. You got a domestic invasion. You got your economy, your inflation just through the roof. Just you got whatever's going to happen with Saudi Arabia and the petrodollar, and that thing seemed to be up in the air. So it's all types of stuff going on. All types of stuff going on, right? Economically, geopolitically, and then you just never know. You just never know, because America's so big. You just never know when a natural disaster is going to occur. You know what I mean? Like, that just happens seemingly once a month, where you look on the news and somewhere you never heard of, some crazy happen. And then, of course, there's always going to be what they consider a mass shooting. That's going to happen once a month too. So all of that stuff's going on. Brother Crow, you said Putin met with Vietnam as well. Yeah, Putin's been making moves. He's been making moves on chessboard. So you got all that. You got all of that stuff going on, and you got a guy that's sitting on stage looking crazy. And you're telling me the 25th Amendment is it, you know, y'all talking about the election. I'm like, hey, what about the country right now? Like right now, at this moment, right now, like that guy that I saw is not capable of doing anything right now. Forget the next 4 years. This second, like, in fact, it's too late. It should have been replaced. Should have been replaced when he was selected. You know what I'm saying? And so you know, I saw that Thursday. I looked at some clips on YouTube or whatever, and I was like, "That's crazy." So here's my, and now people are saying it, but here's the thing: me, Jeannie, a couple of other brothers had talked about this, talked about the election. Jeannie had asked us. This was, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and he's like, man, what y'all think is gonna happen with this election?" And I was thinking, and I said, I don't know how. I said, but they're gonna replace Biden. I said, I don't know how. And I don't know with who. I don't know with who. Right. And then eventually here's what I think. I have no way of knowing. Right. Here's what I think. I don't know how. And I could be wrong. I think they're going to replace him. The Democrats are going to replace him. They're going to replace him with y'all. I put it like this. Let's see, what can I? After I talk to Brother Genie, if I, because I don't know, he hasn't seen the footage yet, so I don't know if he wants to make it available for sale, what he wants to do. I'll do this. I will at least give whoever gets who I am thinking that the Democrats will run, right? The first person to get it right, I will cut up what I think is the best 30 minutes of that. I send that to you for free, no donation or whatever. Who did I come up with, or we came up with, is going to replace Joe Biden? And I think it's kind of been said, it's kind of in the atmosphere. So I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but I'll be waiting for y'all to come up with that. So that was, that was Friday. I mean, that was Thursday night and Friday. Saturday, I get ready, get all my equipment and stuff. And, we talked about DC. So on the way to Freedom Plaza. Yeah, and it is early in the morning. It's like, I don't know, 10 o'clock, 10:30. Before they to who said that? Hold up. Who said that? Who is Source One? And before they to Brother Tony. Whoever Source One is, shoot me an email. Brother, you got ripped off. Can you put my email in the chat, please? And I'll be sure to send you that clip by the end of the week. Because you got it right. That's what we said. And now that's what they're saying. Big Mike, Michelle Obama. Right. Now I think it's crazy, but I also think probably could work. So anyway, Saturday comes along. And I told y'all about the new DC. On the way there, on the way to the place. I'm serious, man. Like I'm saying, it's like early on. It's like 10 o'clock on a Saturday. Hop on the train, to go downtown. And I see, oh, look, finally my computer said, my computer wanted to wake up suddenly. Isn't that something interesting? All right, let's remove that. Let's try this again. What was I getting ready to say? Oh yeah, I saw 2 Euro female homophiles, and then I saw a male who didn't seem to be sure if he was a man or a woman. So I said, "Oh, it's going to be a long day because it's way too early in the morning. It's way too early in the morning for this." So, oh man. So that's what I got to see on the way there. So we get out there. I add some visuals. We get out there. It's a nice day. Of course, Brother Genie's already there. If you ever been around Brother Genie, one thing you know, he believes in being on time, right? So you can't be part of his team. You can't work on nothing that he's doing. None of that if you can't be on time. That I'm telling you now. Don't sign up, say, "Hey, brother, can I help you?" No. Okay. You can't. You got to be on time. In fact, you got to be before time. Right? So I go out there, set up the equipment. Some brothers out there and everything. And so, get everything going. He does his presentation or whatever. Some other brothers come out and everything. So a couple of sisters come out. And then, man, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to get to the funniest part. Oh, okay. Hold on. Yeah, I forgot. We got banners. We got music. Yeah, now I can bring it back to the 21st century here. Going back to the old school. Let me see. All right, there we go. All right, cool. Now, we go out there. I'm gonna tell y'all the funniest part. This is the funniest part to me. Before I give y'all the highlights, we was on. Well, Genie did his presentation in sections out at Freedom Plaza. So the first thing he did an interview. There was some lady from Taiwan. She wanted to do an interview. She wanted to ask people about the election. So not that dude, not booty gig, not that dude, man. Anyway, so Genie did an interview with her, right? And then he did the presentation in sections. And one of the times he did the presentation in sections, in the break, a hat comes up, right? Now, like I told brother, you got ripped off. This is not like random hat. This is Washington, D.C., probably a lobbyist, because he's wearing a full suit on Saturday morning, right? And we're around the corner from the White House, essentially. So he looks like he's going to a meeting. It's Saturday morning. He sees the sign, and he's like, he looks at it. And he goes and talks to like the brothers on the side, and I don't know what happened because I just saw him out the corner of my eye. Apparently, they just disregarded him, and there was a sister over there too. That's a former Panther, so you already know, right? And so he comes up to me. He's like, "Hey," so I give him the DC up and down, right? Y'all know, the black people who are here, y'all know the up and down look like. Okay, who are you, right? And he says, "Are you part of this group?" So I give him the up and down again, like, okay, yeah. Who wants to know? I just said, yeah, but ain't my mom. Yeah, okay, who are you? He's like, so you agree with the sign? Now y'all know what the sign says. The sign says, who's the problem? So I just looked at him and pointed at the sign. Right? So he was just getting that, he was you know how people start turning colors. He started turning colors, and so he was flustered. And he said something else. And you ever seen somebody like they're about to get mad, but then they realize, like, probably cannot win this altercation, right? Because we had brothers there, and if you look at, if you have situational awareness and you look around, probably like a dozen black dudes there, and some of them are of significant height and weight, and they also happen to be skilled, because I know some of them. you know what I'm saying? So you random guy, random hat, against 10 or so black dudes. Look, all I'm saying is, if I'm random hat, I'm not going to run up on 10 black dudes that think that. I'm just saying, it's not really good for your health. That's all I'm saying. So he just stormed off. He was just heated. All right. And I'm not gonna lie, it was so funny. It was so funny. In fact, I think the sister warned him and said he needs to carry himself on before it gets ugly out there. Right. And it was just funny. I'm not gonna lie. It was hilarious because he didn't know what to do. Right. And here's the thing. This how you know. So I know he's like a lawyer or a lobbyist or something. Because he knew the law. He didn't go look for a police officer and ask them something, because we had a permit to be out there. It's Freedom Plaza. People come out there all the time to protest everything. So he knew it wasn't nothing he could do. But he was heated, man. It was so funny. I wish I had taken a picture of him or a video of him, but we was on break, and I didn't think it'd be as funny as it was, but it was hilarious to me. So before that, some random lady comes up. I use that term loosely because I don't know if she's no lady or not. And she starts yelling that we're not helping the Palestinians. And I just turned around and looked at her. I'm like, what makes you think that what we're doing is to help the Palestinians? Like, all right, let's do an observation. We see 99% black people talking about the problem in the world, and you mentioned the Palestinians. What's wrong? You know what I'm saying? Your analysis of this situation is just incorrect. It is what it is. But then you're like, let her talk, let her express herself. And she was heated. She acted like she was gonna run up and do something. And this lady, y'all know me. I'm not the tallest person in the world. This woman looked like she came up to my shoulder. So, what she thought she was going to do is beyond me. I don't know what she thought she was going to do, But that just let us know one thing. Don't let emotions cause you to get dumped on your head. That's all I was saying. So Genie did his presentation, and then he was like, all right, I'm out. I got to go to the next event, in the other town. So that was Saturday. So I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed that. Got to laugh. Got to get some good sunlight. Y'all give brother, you got ripped off some clap emojis because he purchased single-handedly. He purchased the microphone. So when I get this video footage and we discuss what we're gonna do. But if I can make however it's made available to you all, y'all gotta thank him for sound quality. So then Sunday rolls around, right? And like I said, they had a DDoS attack, and it just, you got to figure out when is it gonna come on and where, and we had to go through all that stuff. But I think it's supposed to start at 10 o'clock Eastern, and I turned it on, and I don't think it didn't actually come on until 11 o'clock, right? So the live stream came to start at 11 o'clock. This is the JP conference, by the way. And so I was like, okay, I kind of expected this. So I have it on in the background, and I'm just waiting for it to load up, and we're making some breakfast or whatever. And eventually it comes on, and then they have the attack. And I think, in fact, this is the thing, that they knocked them offline while the organizer of the event, who is Ahmadi, I think that's it, from the Ahmadiyya movement, I'm vaguely familiar with from way back in the day. He's a Muslim. He was showing a video of one of his spiritual leaders. I think he said from 1985 or something. And he was talking about the problem. So they just cut that all off. They cut that off. Yeah, since I said it was supposed to start at 10. No, it didn't start till 11, at least. So they just, and I'm sure it was hacked. They just yanked off they yanked it off while he was playing the clip of his spiritual leader. All right, we'll do it. Like, it was funny but disrespectful. So they did that. And then I don't even know how long it took for me to find, because they end up putting it on the guy, Lucas Gage. They end up putting it on his Rumble channel. So then it came on, and I don't know if it got knocked off again or something happened, or maybe I turned away or walked away. I don't know. But I knew Brother Genie would be toward the end, so I was intermittently paying attention. I'm not gonna lie. Now, to be completely honest, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody's religion or whatever. But in a conference like that, where I'm expecting a lot of hardcore, militant, strong, like really fringe white dudes. Soon somebody start talking religion, I ain't trying to hear nothing you talk about. With all due respect, I'm just being completely honest. You know what I'm saying? You say, look, if I want to hear some church stuff, I'm not gonna listen to no white people at all. It's just not gonna happen. I don't look. As much church as we got in the black community, if I want to hear some church stuff, with all due respect, I want to hear anything about God or Jesus, which most of the times I don't, unless you go into John chapter 8 verse 44, around that area again, then yeah, we can talk. Other than that, I don't want to hear nothing else you talking about. So when people started doing that, I can't even, I think it was E. Michael Jones. I was like, all right, I come back. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'll come back. I don't want to hear none of that stuff. But respectfully, look, if you're not Geno Jennings, I don't want to hear nothing you talking about as far as no Christianity. If you're not, I don't even know from Islamic perspective who I would even want to hear right now. I don't want to hear it. And I'm not trying to disrespect nobody's religion, but I'm just saying, look, that's just me. So he went on, whatever. Somebody else went on. I was like, I ain't know the dudes. Because I'm not gonna lie, half the people I ain't know, because I don't know those people. Then a German researcher, a Germar, I can't think of his, I don't know what, I can't remember his last name. But anyway, he was presenting some historical information dealing with World War II and what happened during World War II. So I started looking at that. I was like, oh, okay. all right, this dude got some information. Rudolph. All right, thank you, brother. German Rudolph. So I was looking at that, and he was breaking down stuff. I mean, he was breaking it down scientifically as far as like different documentation and what took place during the war, what took place after the war, who was in charge of what, how certain history and narratives were created, and all that type of stuff, right? So I was looking at that, and he had some stuff. He had some good information, and he got this. Look, I ain't gonna ask y'all to contribute for the book right now, but sometime later this month, I'm probably gonna ask y'all to contribute to me getting that book, because he got like an encyclopedia that's, I don't know what he says, like 700 pages or something. I don't need that now because I already got 2 books that I'm reading, like 3 books right now. Well, I'm reading 2 and I'm waiting for 1 that I'm glad I didn't pay for in advance because it's taking forever to get here, but whatever. But yeah, so he came on, so he caught my attention, and I watched that for however long his presentation was. I'm not even sure, it may have been an hour, because this just became an all-day event. So it became one of those where I can't even think of anything else like it, but it became one of those events where in between the breaks or whatever, you're like doing stuff in your house. You're like, oh, okay, let me run and put some clothes in the wash machine, or let me go. I mean, you know, like whatever you gotta do. Let me put these dishes in the dishwasher. Oh, let me go sweep the floor. So that's basically what I was doing in between the breaks or whatever. So who else came? Somebody else came on. And again, I don't know any of these people, but they were talking strong because they were talking about manhood and everything. So they was talking strong. I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, I probably wouldn't like this dude, but what he's saying is needed. Like, there's a lack of manhood, and that's something that I had meant to talk about for a while, and I've just never gotten around to it. Y'all know how I always talk about Black people being the canary in the coal mine. And we've talked about the feminization of the Black male, forever, seemingly. And now you see, white males are talking about it, and they see it in their communities, but they didn't pay attention to what was going on with us. They didn't care. Let's just be honest, they didn't care. Now they see the problem, right? So after that dude came on and somebody else came on, Brother Genie finally comes on. I'm like, all right, cool. And it was funny because I was looking at the chat before he came on. And so this is, for those that don't know, if I had to guess, because I don't know, I would say 80% of the people in that chat were white nationalists, right? So when Genie's about to come on, they were like, oh man, here we go. Who is this dude? Oh man, these Negroes and blah, blah, blah. Why is he here? Oh my God, yeah, right? It was that type of thing. I was like, okay. I was like, all right, now everybody being who they are naturally. Here we go. And then Genie started speaking. And he started with a poem. And then, of course, they like, oh my God, this Negro with a poem. I ain't even know what a poem is. All that stuff, right? And then when he got to the information and started dropping, it went from that to, hey man, I gotta follow this guy. Where can I find him? Can I find him on Twitter? Oh my God, man, you see what he said? Oh, that man, how can I look that up? Blah, 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 blah. Like the whole, straight black crowd, the brother Jirake, the whole tenor of the chat conversation flipped once Genie started dropping that knowledge on them. They went from literally like, who is this Negro to, man, who is this dude? I gotta follow. Man, this information is phenomenal. This is incredible. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, we got to get him in front of more people. This and this and that. It was so hilarious to watch them completely change. Their perception completely change, right? And what it is here's what we have to understand. Our enemies, and by our number one enemies, shape the perception of us to everyone else in the world, right? We just look and say, white people are doing XYZ. Here's the reality. I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. The average European isn't smart enough to attack us in a sophisticated manner in which we've been under attack. The basic stuff, that like the frontal assault, like police officer losing control of his gun only when black men show up. Yeah, that right. We know who that is. But the sophisticated assaults, the economic assaults, the psychological warfare, the medical assaults, all that stuff, they not built like that for that. That's not their realm of expertise. They just, you know what I'm saying? They're not organized enough, which was wild to find out, but it is true. They're not sophisticated enough in their thinking, and they're not disciplined enough and patient enough to pull off some of the stuff that happens to us. Right? Like it takes a certain sophistication to pay people to destroy themselves and to make it so that the system pays you back twofold while the people are destroying themselves. You see what I'm saying? So for example, you like, DC, what are you talking about? All right. Sexy Red. Right? I have no idea how much money Sexy Red gets paid. I don't know. Like, I don't know why people like her music. I don't know why people like her at all. But there's some semblance of popularity there that I don't understand. And she appears to be everywhere all the time. Right? Because I don't listen to that type of music, but I know exactly who she is and I know exactly what she looked like. So I'm a prime example that's how ubiquitous she is. Her presentation to our women to the world, including our children, is destructive to our people. Plain and simple. Anybody disagree, argue with yourself in the comment. But she's not a person of her own making. Before they do a straight black song. Yeah, okay. Thank you, brother. Or I guess that's brother Sincere, but thank you, Sincere. They did record it on the Lucas Gage Rumble channel. But someone is willing to pay her, knowing the effect it will have, and knowing that they will make money on the back end while reaping the rewards of her helping to destroy our community. Right? Brother Genie gave an example from his genocide lecture years ago with Lil Wayne. And that, you know, he did that when Lil Wayne was like really popular, right? And he said, you know, he showed the video of when they was talking about the letter, the meeting with the label heads and the private prisons and all that. And he had broke down how much they were paying Lil Wayne and how much the people made on the back end, right? It takes a certain sophistication to be able to do that we think random Billy Joe Bob is doing. That is, if you really think about it, and you really interact with everyday Europeans, you like, there ain't no way. You know what I'm saying? I thought that for years, and I'm like, how are we being defeated? How are we being defeated? And it's not that are we being defeated physically. I'm like, we're being outthought. Like I had made that analysis years ago. I'm like, we're being outthought. And it's funny because of all people, I remember Mr. Farrakhan was like, he said, you're losing because the white man is smarter than you. Now, this was, I don't know, this is at least 25 years ago. And I personally took offense. Like, wait a minute. What do you mean it's smarter than you? He wasn't 100% correct, but the sentiment. The reality is, right? The reality of it is, these people have think tanks. I live in DC, I see them all the time. I can tell you what part of town to go to and which buildings that you're likely to find them in, and you won't even, unless they own the whole building, like Heritage Foundation, something like that, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. You won't even know that those institutions are in those facilities. So you just walk by, see an office building, random office building in DC. Like that. The idea of having, like, other cities have, like they may have tech firms and things like that. Like, most of the stuff in DC is people thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, most of the stuff is people thinking or trying to figure out a way to get the government to do something. Like, that's who owns most of the office space. That's most of the, in essence, economic activity in DC is centered around that, including education. And other than that, it is healthcare, right? Like, those are like the major industries. And then the other industries that are connected to that. So the stuff that maintains those buildings where those things are taking place, right? And then a bunch of educational institutions in the city, because then you got like 4 or 5 colleges in this little small area just inside the city itself. So that's the major difference. Black people don't have a black, to my understanding, a major, not small, but major, black owned, black founded, black funded, black think tank that strictly works on solving the problems of black people. So we don't have a black owned black, because again, if your money's coming from somewhere else, then it ain't yours, right? If you need money from Soros to pay for your office space, that Soros is not yours, right? Yeah, I know. I remember Dr. Claude Anderson had one. I didn't know if it was still active, so that's why I didn't include it. That's why I say, to my knowledge, I don't know if it's still active, because he's an elder now. Because I saw him a couple of years ago, and I was like, whoa, he's getting up there. Like, you can tell, right? And good, he's one of the people he's been around as long as I can remember. I remember seeing him on TV when I was a little boy. So I thought he was a preacher. I didn't know who he was. So we have I'll put it like this: we have a dearth of those institutions. Maybe we have 2 or 3. The ones we have aren't of a significant enough size and influence to be able to do the things that we need done, right? In essence, within SBPM is, in essence, there is an unnamed think tank. Right? And has been since the origin. But what is needed is a set of think tanks that we need to deal with every aspect of our situation here. So we break it down. Dr. Weldon did economics, education, labor law, religion, sex, war, and I missed something. Entertainment. Did I say entertainment? So anyway, the 9 areas of people activity. Y'all know what I mean, right? The 9 areas of people activity. And that would help us to be like, how are we going to be able to deal with the issues that we have? Like for example, and I just got to give people credit. I didn't really, because I was young, I wasn't understanding what they were saying. They were right. I wasn't. I wasn't really against it, but I wasn't for them. When C. Dolores Tucker was talking about where rap music was going and what it was doing to the youth, which that probably was still the youth when she said it, C. Dolores Tucker was right. Tupac attacked C. Dolores Tucker. She was right. She was right. The number of times that y'all gonna hear the following statement are very few and far in between. Right? So get your pens out or your recorders or whatever. Jesse Jackson, when him and I can't remember who else may have been the NAACP. Like, if it was, that's even crazier that it was all them. They had a bury the N-word ceremony. This was 30 years ago. It was, what's this? That would have been 94. Yeah, it probably was 30 years ago. It was at least 25 years ago. At least, I mean, but it may have been, because I probably was younger than I think. It may have been like 35 years ago. Right? Would that have been, is 35 years ago, is that like, that's the late 80s? Sometime in that time, they had a bury the N-word ceremony. I didn't understand the necessity of it at the time. I knew they were right, because I wasn't even, it's kind of funny. I did listen to NWA, but I never used the word, or rarely used the word. Actually, I don't think I ever used the word back then, because we just know it was a bad word. Once the headphones came off, I didn't use the word. So then, and at the time, everybody wasn't using it in their raps all the time, and they had to bury the N-word ceremony. They were right. If we had to just listen, to that advice, I know Jesse Jackson he's almost always on the wrong side of history, but he was on the right side of history that day. And whoever else was with him, I'm sure there's some other people with him that I don't like at all, but they were right. I've said this before, I say it again. We haven't produced anything of value that I can think of since we started calling ourselves the N-word. As a collective, black people in America, we haven't produced anything of value that I can think of since we started calling ourselves the N-word. And every time you try to say we should stop calling ourselves the N-word, you almost gotta come to blows with people. Like, the N-word has become the sacred cow of the black community. And the bad part is that's opened it up to the point that everything negative is something that people want to defend and fight to the death over. It used to just be the N-word, right? A perfect example. You tell people, hey, again, homophilia. People will sit around and argue with you and tell you that they know that people are committing genocide against black people and then advocate for homophilia at the same time. So you wouldn't. I was just sitting here like, okay, so you think that they're trying to destroy us, but you think we also should engage in activity that keeps us from reproducing. Thanks. Okay. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. Since Vanessa says, how would we go about vetting folks that would develop think tanks? Because from what I can see, we have to convince black people that they even have enemies. Sister, it is so funny you said that, because y'all know I've been doing the ancestral shorts. If y'all haven't gone to that, go to the shorts page on this page and go to the short section and like those, right? One of the words, one of the clips I was looking for was from Dr. Julia Hare, where she talks about that, where our people don't even know we have enemies. And I also have the one from Queen Mother Moore, when she says we have to be denegroized. The guy was like, what? She said, I'm starting an organization to denegroize us. And I'm like, man. That was 1985, she said that. If she thought we needed to be denegroized in 1985, I don't even. She had seen nothing. We were nowhere near as bad a condition in 1985. We wasn't calling ourselves N-words, and we wasn't to the point where in every city we wasn't all shooting each other. Yeah, New York, LA, Miami, yeah. Even in DC, it wasn't that bad yet. I mean, we need to be denegroized for real. So, you said, Tarake said the 98th annual NAACP National Convention in Detroit, 2007, they had a mock funeral for the N-word. I thought it was okay, thank you for that, brother. I thought they had one before that. But okay. Yeah, I remember one in the 90s. Now that may be been the official one. It don't matter. Like, we need to have it every year until people get the point. Being completely honest. Every year. Brother Kevin said it seemed like our people would rather have the N-word as an identity. Right. Exactly. I was thinking about doing electrical, the N-word identity. And I'm trying to, when was that? But Brother Genie had brought up the information that it was some hats who were trying to get people to call themselves the N-word in garbage time. And there was some hats. If I find that clip, I'll put it up. I'll find that clip. I'll put it up. Whether I do it in a live stream or on the page, but I'll put it up. But yeah, like, it was a concerted effort in the early 1920s. So 100 years ago, it was a concerted effort 100 years ago to get black people to call themselves N-words, to identify as N-words. That's how long we've been fighting that fight. And we never. This sister said, when you don't think you got enemies, then you pretty much you fall for everything. What you say, brother? You say Brother Woodson knew it in the 20s. So that's just been a battle. And the bad part is we don't even think enough to try to figure out why we do stuff. So when people, y'all know I harp on this all the time. When people say we don't need leaders, I'm like, have you seen the capacity of the average person? You think they're capable of doing what's necessary for us to advance in the state we're in? The average American doesn't have the intellectual capacity for America to survive another 100 years in the state that the average American is in. So what are we talking about here? So the average black person, man, please, come on, man. Come on, man. Like, come on, man. You gotta be realistic here. One of the things I've found is that one of the hardest things it is for our people to do is to be realistic for quote unquote conscious people to do, is to be realistic about the condition that we are currently in. We're in bad shape. Just straight up and down. We're in bad shape. Psychologically, spiritually, health-wise, economically, socially, because we can't interact with each other. Whatever way you want to say it, we in bad shape. We're not doing well. We're not advancing. We're not being completely honest. We're not even treading water. Sister Nina said, besides SBPM, I don't know black folks who take pride in being black. Yeah. And that's a sad state of affairs. That's a sad state of affairs. You say, how did we go from fighting other races or saying it to using it? Oh, well, I mean, the primary, and y'all know this, but I go through the primary conduit was hip hop. That was the primary conduit. When they injected that into hip hop, and it's so crazy to see people arguing about who started hip hop, but not wanting to talk about who owns it and who's using it as psychological warfare to destroy our at this point now, our women and children psychologically. But you want to argue about who started it 30 years ago and all this old nonsense. Who cares? Because it ain't worth nothing now anyway. It's worth something financially, economically. Yes, it is worth a lot. But culturally, at this point in the current condition, it's not worth nothing. Right, brother. Ha. Culturally, spiritually, it's not worth nothing. Yeah, see, Sister Nina, that word wasn't used when I was growing up. Because see, my grandmother, my grandparents, on my they were from the South. So I never heard that word in the house growing up. I just didn't. Right. And they just didn't. Knowing my grandfather, he probably had some Red Fox albums or whatever. And, he had some 8 tracks or whatever he had when he wasn't listening to James Brown. But yeah, that just didn't. They sheltered me from that. That wasn't a thing. Right? It wasn't a thing because when the 80s rolled around, the people that was making music, the black music back then, they weren't saying that stuff. You say Sister Najee. Like it's hard to. I remember having this conversation with a sister who now is well into her 40s. I'm trying to think because she's younger than me, but she's well into her 40s. She's at least in her early 40s. Now, I remember having a conversation with her, and we were talking about music, and I was talking about when like there was like hip hop love songs, and like for example, LL way back in the day, as far as I remember, he was the first one to make a love song. He made a whole song called "I Need Love." It was a hip hop song. You know what I'm saying? That's why that helped popularize him with women and help make him a bigger star. And I don't know. That was sometimes I was young when he did that, but occasionally dudes would do that, right? Just random dudes, the smooth dudes or whatever. They were rapping. They would make those type of songs. Remember, Poor Righteous Teachers had a song, Shakila, it was a song dedicated to black women. And so I was telling that sister about that. She was like, yo, I don't remember that. I ain't never heard of none of that. And I was like, yeah. I was like, nah, it was a thing in the 80s. And then the early 90s, like all of that changed. Like even the so-called conscious rappers didn't have, for the most part, really have positive songs for black women. Not really, when I think about it. Early 90s. But then you did have dudes make hip hop / R&B songs with women. So those were positive to a degree. Compared to anything that's going on now that I see. So you had like a big one was Method Man and Mary J. Blige. That was a big one. That was a huge song. That helped blow up Method Man even more. I'm just trying to think from way back in the day, the 90s. I don't know. I can't really think of none, but that wasn't a thing. I just can't. But the Roots had a huge one where they had Erykah Badu sung the hook, but Jill Scott wrote the hook. But Jill Scott she wasn't known. You Got Me. That was a huge song in, I guess, the late 90s, right? Basically a love story. I don't know. Anyway, if y'all can think of any other ones from back in the day where hip hop actually had something positive to say about black women, y'all can put them in the chat. Heavy D had some songs, yeah. Because Heavy D was an overweight lover, so yeah, he definitely had some R&B, New Jack Swing type stuff. I just can't remember the song. I know he had somebody Love Me for Me. I know that because that was a big one. And I just can't I can't think of any of the songs now. I'm just drawing a blank. My apologies. That's why I asked y'all to put them in there. But yeah, Heavy D definitely. The brother I know, he loved Heavy D. That's his man. Black Coffee, Black Coffee too. That's Heavy D again. But anyway, point being is the energy and the vibration of it was different, and it would change gradually. And of course, the people that opened the door was NWA and Luke, and it's been all downhill. And we don't even think about how it affects specifically all the B's in nature and all the stuff endlessly going on, how it affects our sisters and their self-perception, right? Like I saw a video clip today, and it was two sisters talking. I do know one of the sisters is married. The other one I never seen before, and they were talking about hair. And this is a thing that you know it's a big thing. It's always been a big thing with women, but like you don't really hear sisters' perspective on it. And the sister was saying that in her mind, before she decided to go natural, and she wasn't from the US, but in her mind, permed hair was black woman's hair. Like that. It's funny when she said it, but it made sense because you're like, well, if that's all you see, then yeah, that's what you would think. And I remember one day a long time ago saying, yo, it's really wild how everybody acts like black men and black women have two different grades of hair. you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's just, this before everybody started growing locks and stuff. But I was just like, yo, this is weird how like nobody publicly says, how come the women's hair and the men's hair don't look like? Because I can just imagine random white people, whatever, just say, it's always some European that just gonna say whatever's on their mind. And I'm just surprised that we don't hear about that, right? So, but she was talking about hair, talk about how loving her hair became a process, and she saw some videos dealing with natural hair, and it had never occurred to her that her hair as a black woman could grow beyond her shoulders. Like she said, she didn't think it was possible. And think about that. Think about how, for lack of a better word, brainwashed we are that it doesn't occur to us that our hair can grow because we've been managing it wrong. And that's the sisters. Roger Rocket beat me to the point. He said now the males have longer hair than the women. Right. The women think they can't grow hair, but dudes is running around. I've been growing my locks probably 2 years now. At least 2 years. Well, no. I think it'll be 2 years and 2 years toward the end of the year. Something like that. And yeah, your hair grows out your head. You maintain it, you take care of it, get it styled and whatever. It'll keep growing. Unless you have some type of condition. As you get older, and then, doesn't grow as much, as fast, as thick, but keeps growing. And so sometimes when I see sisters with weave and all this stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, I know you can grow your hair because I'm almost twice as I'm almost twice as old as you are. If I can grow my hair, you can grow your hair. You know what I'm saying? But it just goes to show how psychologically we're under attack to the point where things that should be intuitive are not at all. And that's just been a thing with our sisters. But one thing that we don't do nowadays that we used to do, let's just be honest, we don't reinforce the beauty of our women. We don't. Look, ain't nobody argue with me. I mean, you can't argue with me about that. And I'm just be completely honest. Can't argue with me about this either. You can, but I ain't gonna pay no attention. If the black woman in her natural state is simply pound for pound number one. Period. End of discussion. Right? I'm not debating with nobody about that. Now, if some Hispanic dude was to come on here and say that his women are that, I'm glad you feel that way. some white dude want to come on and be like, I don't think so, buddy. You're wrong there. Nothing beats a good old white American woman. I'm not arguing with that dude either. I'm glad he feels that way. That way we won't have conflict over our women. But for me, pound for pound, right? Age for age, economic status equal, whatever. The black woman in her natural state, ain't nobody on her level. It's just not. It's just, I mean, come on, man. Let's be realistic. That rewind time and go back and look at Catsuit Serena Williams. That model not available in other races. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's certain cars that only Lamborghini makes. You know, back in the 80s, a Lamborghini Countach was a Lamborghini Countach. Yeah, ain't nobody else didn't make those. It just is what it is. But nowadays, brothers don't even get to see women in their natural state half the time. Because even if you see a sister with a natural hair, she got 21 tattoos. You can't even see what her skin look like. Right? I mean, it is what it is. But then again, like I said, we got 70% of our children born out of wedlock. 70%. No one is validating that little girl's beauty. Except probably some pervert. And then when the people grow up and they hate themselves, we like, man, I wonder why these people hate themselves. And then the people that they see them with 10 pounds of makeup, weave, contacts, tattoos, and all of that stuff is what I call the tranny uniform. And I got to find it. I don't know where I saw it, but I saw a homophile say that they were the ones that helped popularize that look because they're the makeup artists and the stylists and stuff for these celebrities. So the person admitted it. I've been saying it for years. I heard other people say it as if they came up with it, but I said it a long time ago. But the point remains. The tranny uniform is the standard look for black women in 2024. But that only occurs from psychological warfare. You can't make your women feel good if you allow Negroes to call them B's and H's for 30 straight years. It's just, you know, it is what it is. Everybody wasn't here, but everybody didn't contribute to make it stop. Nobody took it seriously. Now we see the ramifications of it a generation later. Now everybody want to know what we're going to do. All right. Anyway, real quick, you can follow me on Instagram at dc.radical1, Twitter at dc_radical_one, on OTW2, black-owned platform, DC Radical 1. If you would like to contribute to the channel, it's Cash App, $, DC Radical 1. And you can email me at dc.radical_1 at protonmail.com. Now, as the brother said, full spectrum warfare. We're not even going to talk about the food deserts. That's a whole nother thing. Healthcare, just the economic destruction. Because we can. I'm going to say this. I'm not a fan of Republicans nor Democrats, but I can only speak for myself and most people I know. You're just being honest, economically, even in the midst of global shutdown, people were doing better economically in the last administration. Now, and the thing is, it's not like the last administration stopped the economic assault against black people. That ain't the case. It's just that the whole country was doing better. Now, economically, man, please. the black community. And the thing is, the war on black people has managed to spread to America as a whole. And that's what, let's just be honest, that's what makes the JP conference possible, is that other people realize, oh wow, we under attack too. Oh wow, we may not be able to repel this assault by our own. Oh wow, I need to find out, but if these people aren't doing it, who's doing it? Right? One of the things that's been done is that there's been a very sophisticated effort to make it look like the attacks on Donald Trump are coming from black people by putting black faces in front of the media as prosecutors and things like that. Yeah, let's just be honest. There's a significant number of white people in America who love Donald Trump. And so if they see people who are against Trump, right, wrong, or indifferent, they're not going to like those people. Why do you think those prosecutors got those jobs? Because other people who don't like Donald Trump, or at least don't trust him and don't want him in office, or at least want to have some type of leverage, they put us out in front so to do their dirty work. Coincidentally, but not really, the same people who altered hip-hop and have us out here inward now, so it's the same people that put us out in front and make it look like we on some attack Donald Trump thing, when in reality we just trying to survive. Right? I just want in my lifetime for black people to go from surviving to thriving in some form or fashion, some capacity. Brother, sorry. Okay, I'm not familiar with that song. I don't even mention Harris one anymore because his refusal to take a stance against Bang Booty. I just lost all respect for that dude. Like, all completely. Because you gotta, let me say this real quick. The measurement in the 21st century of the word I'm looking for, because it goes beyond men, so it's not the measurement of quote unquote consciousness, or however you want to put it, being woke or whatever term you want to use. The measurement is not in what you advocate, but what you're willing to stand against. Because black people have a habit of wanting to advocate for stuff, but when you say, hey, we need to stand against XYZ, for example, the N-word, for example, homophilia, for example, pedophilia, for example, sexualization of children, right? We say we need to stand against these things. Then that's what people roll out. Right? People with you when you're for something. Yeah, we need to be for XYZ. You say, nah, we need to stand against this. That's where you lose people. Now, I know I've said this before, I say it again. When we said, look, and we need to do something about this sexual abuse, you just assume that everybody's going to agree to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we need to protect our children from being violated. You just assume that everybody would just be like, you know what, brother? You're right. I'm with you. Hey, brother, I respect that. Hey, brother, I'm going to support you on that. Man, please. I've said the story many times, so I'm not gonna go over there again because I'm gonna say it again later on. So there's no need to talk about it tonight because I didn't plan to be on this long anyway. So the measuring stick is gonna be like, what you gonna stand against? And when you start pointing out people specifically, then people really don't want to stand. Really don't want to take that stand, right? But because people get told to, they'll quote unquote cancel random celebrities over random insignificant issues. And the people may be wrong, but in the grand scheme of things, as far as black survival, those things don't be mattering. They're like, everybody, let's cancel him, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what about these folks? And let me say this real quick, too, because I just saw this. And I got to look into it and see how it works. Yeah, the Supreme Court today. I know that's a weird transition, but yeah, the Supreme Court pretty much allowed the government to work with the social media companies to just neutralize people's First Amendment. I don't know what's going on with the Supreme Court, but that sucks. I don't know if anybody else saw that. If y'all saw it, let me know. But yeah. So if those who have followed me for a long time, you remember like when all the COVID videos I did, whether they were related to the jab or not, like they would just YouTube would just take them down one by one. We may be going back to that, and I don't know what the subject may be, but the First Amendment took a hit today. I dig into that more later after I see what's going on, but I don't see anything good in that decision. Like everybody's talking about the Trump decision. I'm like, presidents getting away with killing people all the time. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, yeah, sort of a big deal, but not really. But your First Amendment rights, that affect everybody. Because Obama blew up a U.S. citizen when he just waited for him to go across the street and they blew him up. So, the president been immune and stuff. As far as I'm concerned, I didn't see what the big deal was. Maybe I'm just not understanding legally like mine. But whatever. I think just because Trump's name got put on it became a big thing. But that First Amendment case, that dealing with social media, that somebody who the primary way that I spread my message and interact with you all is through social media, that caught my eye. So yeah, we're gonna have to come up with new ways, and we use Telegram, and we have OTW2 right now. So yeah, we're gonna have to come up with new ways to even more new ways to interact and organize and things like that. Brother Jarake only saying people talk about the Chevron. Yeah, that was a big deal too. But now that other case, and I don't remember what the case, not the case number, but who it was, who versus whom. But yeah, that was a big deal. So that was this weekend, and I was gonna read these articles, but I'm not. Whatever. I mean, we see what's going on. This Saturday, and when I get verification, I'll put the flyer up on the community tab here on YouTube as well as on Instagram. But I'm pretty sure this Saturday we Brother Genie's gonna be doing the Chop It Up in Baltimore, which would be the 6th. Since we got our mic that our brother bought worked well, we're going to. I'm I'm probably won't live stream. I'll just record it. I don't know. Yeah, because I don't know what happened the last time. Like, I don't know if it was because I was live streaming. I don't really know what that was. So probably just record it to my camera and then take it from there. What I do need, anybody wants to donate to this, what I do need, or what would make my life much easier, is getting an adapter, because my newer computers don't have a memory card slot. I need an adapter that allows me to plug into a USB of my newer computers to be able to just take that information straight off the memory card into the computer, so I can do the editing like that, as opposed to having to put it on my older computer and doing it like that, which works much slower and is even more cantankerous than this one is becoming. But that's my fault, because I haven't done what I need to do with this one. Now it's like your car. Like, all right, are you gonna fix this part, or am I just gonna stop working? Anyway, choice is yours. So that's how this computer is acting right now. So with that, brothers and sisters, I thank you all for sitting through my tech issues. I'm glad I was at least able to communicate with you all despite that. So what I am going to do tomorrow, don't forget, Brother Genie is going to be on Twitter at 6 p.m. Eastern time. JAT Problem on Twitter, or X, if you will. So don't forget to check that out. As for me, again, you can follow me on Instagram at dc.radical1, on Twitter at dcradical_ONE, OTW2 dcradical1, Cash App $dcradical1, and you can email me at dc.radical_1 at protonmail.com. Since I did not come on Tuesday, I will probably come on Thursday. Do got some more shorts that I want to put together, because I still haven't put up any of those that I took when I went to the African American History Museum. Took a boatload of pictures and videos and stuff, and I still haven't put those up. So be on the lookout for that this week. And when I overlook some of the SCOTUS cases, I'll probably do a video on those, or I may just make a live stream dealing with all of those. What did I say? Oh, Thursday. Yeah, today is Tuesday. Thank you, sir. But y'all know what I'm saying. I misspoke this time. So I'll probably come on Thursday. We shall see, because there's always something happening that's worth talking about, since I did not come on Sunday. And then I'll let y'all know about Saturday once I know. I'll let you all know. So with that, brothers and sisters, I thank you all for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe, because we are 150 people away from our goal. So we've reached 85% of our goal. We got 15% to go. Y'all know my goal. Get fully monetized or get deleted trying. I like to think that we're closer to being monetized than we are to being deleted, but you never know. So with that, brothers and sisters, I say a BB for ODA and straight black pride.
Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical, the numeral 1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_ONE. And the Cash App is $DC Radical 1. Again, thank you for subscribing. A big for ODA and straight black pride.